Hey everyone, welcome to your second Flask tutorial. In this tutorial, to begin with, let's see why the method we were using before is not a very good idea. This is all just one file as we were going, but imagine if you just kept expanding this and kept going. All this has right now is, very simply, it just has sign in and register. And you can imagine if you were making like a decent sized application, this would get merge conflicts all the time if it was on Git, and it's really not very good. So we're gonna kind of start from scratch here. Delete that one. And pretty much any project, I think one of the first things should be a configuration file. Because you want to change a configuration file, you don't want to change your code, really. And first thing that's pretty common to include is the base path, which is where this is right now. And you'll see why in a second. Yep, that's where we are right now. And the way this is going to work is we can actually use a Python objects in order to configure our application. So the reason that's good is you can also subclass each one of them, so you can kind of cascade it, so you can overwrite things from the last one. So on that note, default will be our first one. And on this one, we will just say, I don't know, what is there to say? Port. A really simple example, it's hard to come up with something. Now let's just make one that's subclass is that. So class development, this is generally how I like to do it, defaults. And on this one, we can set this debug flag to true. That way you don't have to worry about, deploying with debug on, because it's just not going to work that way. Class production default. I don't even know what to put here. Pass. It's too far away to think about anyway. Class testing was true. And now that we have that, we need some way to reference them. So we're going to make a dictionary. That's a mapping of all of them. And it's good to put the keys in all caps. That way when somebody types in it as an argument, you can just put their argument to uppercase and not worry about how they typed it. And production. And now this kind of leads into another thing that we're going to have to do, and that's we're going to make a function that will make our application. And we're going to make a new folder called app where this will live, and this will now be a Python package and init.py. So then from Flask, import Flask. Definitely going to need that one. And since we just got the config, from config, import config, which is the mapping I was just talking about. Def create app environment. It's going to take one argument, and you're going to see what that is in a second. So all you really have to do to start is not much different than what we did before. App equals Flask name. That's all good. Now we're going to want to set up the config. So app.config.from objects. That's pretty cool, huh? And we can say config at environment. Next, we can just return the application. Nothing more needed. And now we're just going to make something to run it. And that's going to be in the base directory where the config is. So then we're going to say from app import create app, which is the method. And we're going to say create app. In this case, just to be lazy, we're going to say development. And there's no real point in going into detail about how to make that better, but we will. Alright, that's a pretty basic system we got going on here compared to the version we had before. Now we have something to configure it and set it up, something to create the application itself, and something to run the application. Obviously what we're missing views and methods that would correspond to the application. What we're going to use is this thing called a blueprint in Flask, and what a blueprint is kind of like a small application that binds to your larger application, and it makes everything modular and more organized. So we're going to start with making a folder called roots. Maybe not the best name, but that's not the point. And within it, we're going to add a file, init.py, just like we had in the directory before. From Flask, import blueprints, root equals blueprint, and name. That's kind of like the name of it, and that's like its import path. Then we're going to say from right here, import views and errors. And the reason there's errors is because this is going to be the the root. So it's going to be all the things prefixed with the slash, and we're going to just add the errors to handle like 404s and 500s and things like that. Let's do that right now. Alright. And what you do is you do from here import root, which refers to this blueprint right here. And what this allows you to do is root.route slash, well, yeah, you know what I mean. But we don't really want to do that here. We want to do app error handler. And we're going to say this one's for a 500. And this is basically saying if the app exits with a 500, then we want to do this. 500 in HTTP is internal server error, so we're just going to call it that right there. We're going to return render template. Now if you put a comma after this and do 500, that'll be the response code. And let's just do one more, and this one is basically just going to be for an example so I can show you it actually working. 404, not found. You also have to put the E there because this decorator has this, so you have to put the E in there. And we're going to return render template page not found. Oof, don't want that. Also, I like to put these in their own folder. They don't exist yet, by the way, if you were wondering. Now, if we go back to init, we'll see we had this other thing called views. And we're going to make that right now. And what we can do here is we can just put like, we're going to do that same thing again from .import, what did I call it, root? Yep. Root.route slash return render temp. Oh, I forgot to put the thing below it. I got a little carried away there. Def home return render template home.html. And now you have a pretty basic thing going there. It won't actually work because we don't import these in either file actually. Gonna want that there too. There you go. And now those two would work if they were attached to anything, but right now they're really just kind of sitting around in this folder, not connected to the actual application. And that's where this comes in. So what we're going to do is from roots import roots as roots blueprint. And what you need to do to register it is app.register blueprints root. I don't like the name. Let's just make that. That's simpler. Now you've made your application more modular. So, for example, right here, now you have this slash. It's part of your application. And another reason why that's useful is you can put a URL prefix on these and say, for example, /users, and then it would preface everything in that route with /users. So if you had a route that said /register, it would be /users/register. It's pretty useful. It's also much more organized, and that's why I decided to start with this earlier. So let's see if we can't get started with this one. Is there anything I'm missing? I'm sure there's going to be an error somewhere. Oh well, whatever. I actually deleted my virtual environment, so we're just going to remake that one real quick. Bin activate. Alright. And we're going to do pip install Flask. Alright, then right now we're going to make the requirements.txt, because why not? Alright, let's see if this works. No module name root. Let's see about that one. I think I know exactly what the problem is. From dots. Import root. There we go. Easy enough. Well, the template's not found, so that's predictable. What you're going to do, also, to make all the folders that we had before, like templates and static and all that, they're going to go in this app folder, like next to init. Let's make some. And errors, page not found.html, and we're just going to do 404 not found. Alright, let's try this again real quick. See, it's working. Now let's go to a place that doesn't exist. Oh, look at that. Well, that's going to do it for this lesson. I hope you all enjoyed it.